From our top battlements of Kremlin necropolis, where in Russia you don't read News Roundup, News Roundup reads you. Good evening, Comrade America, Mrs. Amerikova. Welcome to Oblast Radius. I am correspondent Vladimirovich KURMUDGEONOV. Here is Decline of Western Civilization News Roundup for week ending 23rd February 2024. Dateline Moscow, Monday 19th February. Russian government, in gracious gesture of magnanimity and conciliation, released to family the body of deceased enemy of state Alexei Navalny, who perished last week in Siberian prison camp in unfortunate case of man suddenly becoming dead. Men suddenly become dead each day is imperfect world. Doctors have ruled out suicide in case of Navalny since traditional Russian suicide involves shooting self in head 3 times, then throwing self out of 6th floor window, and no such indications have been noted in case of Navalny. President of Russian Federation Vladimir Vladimirovich Putin issued statement saying, quote, "Everyone here at Kremlin is deeply saddened by death of Alexei Navalny, which we totally had nothing to do with at all. Our grief overwhelms us so much that we, the government of the Russian Federation, in the name and memory of Mr. Navalny, will be making an extremely generous donation to the International Foundation for the Prevention of People Suddenly Becoming Dead." Or IFPPSPD for short, because together we can find the cure, end quote. Dateline Memphis, Tennessee, Tuesday, 20th February. A mother was arrested on Monday after police were alerted to photos online that allegedly showed a small child waxing a nude woman? What a country. There's a sentence you never heard before, yes? According to a report by local news agency in Memphis, Jasmine Ross, age 30, of Memphis, because of course her name is Jasmine. And look, I am just going to come out and say it. We don't have stories like this in Russia, where a woman promotes her hair removal business by posting pictures of her nude self getting waxed off by a nude kindergartner, basically implying to every kiddie diddler in town that if you've got some unwanted body hair, I've got a little kid that will be happy to take it off you. Also, please be sure not to share these pictures with anyone, especially law enforcement. Oh yes. She really did say that, and then she told Memphis police that she didn't know she was committing any crime. Which is always a great starting point for criminal offense. I didn't know it was illegal, but I said, hey, don't tell cops. Best of luck in Gulag, Miss Jasmine Ross. Dateline, Washington, D.C., Wednesday, 21st February. According to a new survey by Economist and YouGov, 54% of Americans believe President Joe Biden's advanced age and physical infirmity would severely limit his ability to perform his duties in second term as president. 27% said little effect, 12% said no effect, 8% no opinion. And if you will permit me small observation, this seems to be a recurring theme in American polls. Always there are 10% of Americans who say they believe opposite of reality, other 10% who pay so little attention they have no opinion. If you ask 1,000 Americans what side of sky will sun rise on tomorrow, 80% would say east, 10% would say west, 10% would say no opinion. Could be east, could be west, who's to say really? Besides, I don't pay attention to politics. Reach for comment on poll numbers. President Joe Biden stated, quote, "Sorry, can't talk now. Mexico is invading Gaza, and I have to call Nasser to make sure he stays on his side of the Rio Grande," end quote. Dateline, Silicon Valley, Thursday, 22nd February. After being mocked by entire world for 3 days over its woke AI robot generating no images of white people, Google, for first time in history, resorts to damage control tactic known in America as delete fucking everything. Google Gemini has been shut down completely because what, the biggest company on earth? They roll out major products now without beta testing? That's where we are? Google of all companies does not have sufficient resources to put a dozen random people in a room and say, type most absurd thing you can think of into AI image generator. They actually rolled out the thing without the entire world checking to make sure that typing, say, give me image of 2 Scottish clan chiefs. They give you Pakistani woman, Native American man. both wearing belted plaids. And don't worry, much more on this in main segment. We are going to settle controversy once and for all, perhaps greatest controversy in American history. Who wins in duel between Black George Washington and Chinese George Washington? Stay tuned. You don't want to miss it. Dateline Boca Chica, Texas, Friday, 23rd February. Speaking once again of Google, American capitalist oligarch Elon Musk has declared that Google is running, quote, insanely racist anti-civilizational programming. Do you suppose this has anything to do with the woke AI image generator that created Chinese George Washington? I think it might. Quote, I'm glad that Google overplayed their hand with their AI image generation and made it their insane, racist, anti-civilizational programming clear to all. Elon Musk on the Twitter. And if I may editorialize, I'm glad Mr. Musk has taken note of this controversy, because if there exists any man with financial resources to settle question once and for all, pay for actual creation of Black George Washington and Chinese George Washington, to animate these great American heroes in flesh and blood so that we might finally know who wins the duel. Who could it be but Mr. Elon Musk? Which would you rather see, a self-sufficient human colony on the surface of Mars, or a steel cage match between Chinese George Washington and Black George Washington? Yes, that is what I thought. And this is end of Decline of Western Civilization News Roundup. There's nothing left to say but salute, spasiba, das vidanya. I very much would like to have seen Montana. And here I present mysterious substitute co-host of unknown identity and origin, Grande Admiral Snowflake.